Hello everybody! Welcome to part 2 of my book reviews that I am doing in shotgun style for the beginning of this year. These are books that I've read so far in the year 2017, and in this video I'm going to be reviewing Howl's Moving Castle, A Dog's Purpose, and The Unbeatable Squirrel Girl. So let's get started! Alright, so the first book up is A Dog's Purpose, actually. I read this one before Howl's Moving Castle. So A Dog's Purpose is a book from a dog's perspective about him finding his purpose. The dog, however, it is mentioned in the back of the book, he dies and then is reincarnated into a different body of a different dog every time he comes back to life. So he does die several times in this book, so be warned, it is very sad. It is sad and also tugs at your heartstrings, more of kind of a sad, but it's also super funny. So the good points about this book, I thought it was really funny to read about the world, our everyday normal activities, from a dog's perspective. So that's kind of an eye-opening thing about it. Also, I feel like it's a good commentary too about when you're training a dog, why a dog may not obey or that kind of a thing. And I feel like it does open up your eyes towards, you know, when you get a dog and how you should take care of them. The bad thing about it is, again, some people might think that it is boring because, again, I didn't think it was too boring, but I can see how some people might think it was boring because there are a lot of downtimes, you know, it's everyday life of an all-American family kind of a thing, you know, but it's everyday activities of this little boy. There are a lot of action sequences in it though, a lot of danger sequences that are interesting to read. And also, again, the bad thing about it, it is sad. There are some very, very sad parts in it. But it's also really, really funny. So it's one of those happy, sad, sad, happy kind of a book. So that is A Dog's Purpose. The next book I'm going to review is Howl's Moving Castle. Howl's Moving Castle, I picked up this book because I love the film that was made by Hayao Miyazaki in Studio Ghibli. This was very, very different from the movie. Very, very different. In the sense that I feel like the things that were in common was it still has a great sense of whimsy. It still doesn't quite explain some of the magic elements in the movie and in the book. Some of the magic in there isn't quite fully explained, and I actually kind of like that mystery, but this book was so confusing. Also, the book characters are so different from the film as well. Like their personalities. In the movie, Howl is sort of this brooding McBrooderson wizard, but he's also sort of that brooding romantic character, but you do see some of his flaws in that he's very vain. In this one, he is such a butthead. He is such a butthead in this film. He would drive me absolutely crazy. He's far more vain and far more selfish in this book. Also, Sophie is very similar in the sense that she is more of a pill. She is so grumpy in this book. And she is grumpy, yes, in the animation, but in this one she is way more grumpy, and their relationship is just really funny. Oh, sorry, in case you didn't know, this book is about a girl named Sophie who gets cursed by a witch. She gets turned into an old lady, and she can't tell anybody about this spell that's been put on her. So she goes to work for Howl, who lives in a moving castle, and all the shenanigans that happens after that. It's just a crazy book, but I was confused by a lot of things in this. The action sequences were just very, very up and down again in this one. It was confusing. I'm not sure if I like it better than the movie. The movie I absolutely love and is a little bit more consistent pacing than the book does. So it's a toss-up for me which one I like better. I like more detail in this book. However, again, the more detail is also still very confusing the way it's presented. So that's Howl's Moving Castle. The next book up has been my favorite that I have read this year so far, and that is The Unbeatable Squirrel Girl, Squirrel Meets World, written by Dean Hale and Shannon Hale. This book, I finished it last night. So stinking funny and so cute. This book is such a lighthearted, fun read because I feel like people are just putting so many dark or scary elements into the books now because they want to shock people or they want to unnerve people. This one was so fun because I feel like it teaches you some fun life lessons, but it also keeps things so lighthearted and beautiful. This book is about Squirrel Girl, who is a girl who was born with a squirrel tail. She also has really big buck front teeth, and she also has sort of the proportional strength and abilities of a squirrel, so she can like jump really high. She is also pretty strong and that kind of a thing. And basically how she starts out, she's 14 years old in this book, so it is a middle grade reader. The bad thing about it, I think some people will find the humor very juvenile. I thought it was really funny. I think that they're so stinking cute. This book is told in multiple perspectives. One is Squirrel Girl, the other is Anna Sophia, who is her best friend. The next is the villain, who's called the micromanager, and then the fourth is Tippy Toes, who is Squirrel Girl's best squirrel friend. And Tippy Toes on the back there, she's got this cute little pink bow and she's like a kick-butt squirrel. Anyways, this book I feel like presented a lot of things very, very well. Anna Sophia, who is Squirrel Girl's best friend, is deaf. She wears hearing aids, and it presents her disability very, very well. You know, it's not just like, oh, she's deaf, so they have to sign. It actually shows her struggle making friends because she is deaf. And also it shows how she overcomes that and how exhausting it can be for her. But Anna Sophia is presented in such a way that you just love her, and you get this whole new respect for people who are deaf and have to use hearing aids and things like that. Also, Squirrel Girl's optimism is so cute, is so funny. She's so optimistic. She's a bit naive, which can drive some of the characters crazy, but she is so cute and so upbeat and so optimistic, and I was so uplifted by this book. I thought it was so fun. The other thing that I thought was fun about this book, there's two things. She talks to the superheroes of the Marvel Universe. She actually has these text conversations with them that are so stinking funny. She has these like little text message conversations. She talks to Black Widow, she talks to Tony Stark, she talks to Rocket Raccoon from Guardians of the Galaxy, and it's so stinking funny. I feel like I'm just gonna say that all the time. It's so stinking funny. But anyways, she talks to the superheroes, and she's such a fangirl of these superheroes, and it's really cute. The other thing too unique about, or kind of different about this book, is that she has her own footnotes. So there's these footnotes written at the bottom that are written by Squirrel Girl, and so she's basically commentating on her own story. It helps explain some of the things that go on in the story, especially when the squirrels are talking to each other. Like from Tippy Toes' perspective, they have their own language, which is very fun and different, but it's also kind of hard to read sometimes, and you don't understand some of the expressions, and she'll explain some of those things down in her little footnotes. Again, I laughed so much during this book. Again, some people might think it's juvenile. There are a lot of modern tech references in it, so for people who are a little bit older who don't understand pop culture references, this does have a lot in there. Also, I thought it was really funny too. They mentioned Rexburg, Idaho in here, which is where I went to school, which is where I went to college, and then they also mentioned Utah in this book, which is where I'm from. Anyways, it just was so stinking funny. And I love this book. This has been my favorite book that I've read out of all of these so far. Let me know how you like these reviews. Do you like them in this sort of shotgun style where I do 3 of them at a time and just review them as quick as I can? Or do you want each individual book to have their own video so that I can go in depth a little bit more? Let me know in the comments, and as always, thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time. Thanks. Bye.